In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to cut your CNC project time in half with 5 simple hacks. These hacks I have learned from years of mass producing products on both hobbyist and industrial CNCs. These tips are not only easy to implement, they're gonna save you hours, and the last tip is gonna save you days. So how today's video is gonna work is we're gonna be cutting out this pumpkin tray, and typically on a hobby CNC, this would take about 30 minutes, and all the tactics and hacks that I learned over the years should take this from a 30-minute project to about a 5 to 7 minute project. And so as we cut this out and progress along in the video, you're going to learn all those different tips and hacks that I've learned. The first thing we need to do is hold down our material. There is no hack here. Just screw it down, use T-slots, double-sided tape. I don't care. As long as it's secure, the more it wants to vibrate, the worse it's going to cut. So one of the first hacks we're going to use today is a roughing pass. And what a roughing pass is for, a roughing pass is to take out a lot of material at one time so a nicer, sharper bit can come back in there and clean everything up. So this pumpkin tray is a perfect example where a lot of material needs to be taken out at one time. And so we're going to be using this Golden Boy rougher, a bit that we designed, to take off a lot of material so you can kind of speed up the process. And so this bit is going to be running really fast, taking out a whole bunch of material. Then we're going to put the bowl and tray bit in there to come back by and kind of clean everything up. So let's get it running to show you what that process looks like. Let's go. Couple things to notice on this roughing pocket is my finished pocket that I want is 0.50, but I'm only running this rougher at 0.47. I'm doing 2 passes. I'm going 250 inches a minute, 125 on the plunge rate, and I am scooting. I could probably do this in 1 pass, but I like to do it in 2 with this Onefinity. I have a 0.25 pocket allowance. And what that pocket allowance is going to do is going to come in so that bowl bit still has the material to take away because of that arc. Now another thing that I'm doing is I'm running an inside profile on this line to create a little step. And what that step looks like is right here. Now, whenever that bowl bit comes by, that angle is going to be perfect on this step. That rounded corner is going to work perfectly on this stepped angle. So just a couple tips and tricks. 250 inches a minute, 125 on my plunge rate. I'm doing a raster, so everything is vertical whenever it is doing it. I like doing that. And then I'm coming in with that extra little step right there whenever it's pocketing it out. And that's going to allow for a nice, good roughing pocket. So a couple things I want to point out now that this is all cut out. Notice there is a little bit of frizzies right here, but that's why it's called a roughing pass, and that's why we use an upcut. I do have a downcut version of this, which wouldn't cause those frizzies, but these frizzies are all going to be taken off whenever we put that bowl bit in there, and it comes and cleans everything up, which you're about to see. But the reason this is so important and to use something like this serrated rougher right here, because a finishing bit, like a regular 2-flute bit, can do all of this, but it's going to get dull quicker, it's going to scream really loud. These roughing bits, this stay sharper longer because they are serrated, and if they do get a little bit dull, they still continue to cut. And so this took 5 minutes to pocket all this stuff out. With a bowl bit, each pass is going to take 10 minutes. So to get to the correct depth with a standard bowl bit, you're looking at 2 to 3 passes. And so now I only have to do 1 pass, which is 10 minutes plus 5 minutes. But with the bowl bit, you're looking at 20 to 30 minutes of passes to achieve the same thing. And it's also saving you life on your bits because you're using that serrating rougher first, then coming back with those finishers. So those finishers are going to stay sharper. Serrated roughers can take a beating. That's huge, baby. Now let's run that bowl bit to clean everything up, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. See that edge? See it getting taken off now? All right, this bowl bit is running at 300 inches a minute with a 150 plunge rate and only a 10% step over. And notice, like I said, I'm going down 0.50 where that rougher only went 0.47. So if you notice, it's actually taking off some of that highlighter that I put on that middle bowl. And I like that 10% step over because it has nice clean bottom that I do not have to sand much whenever it's done. So to bowl out everything right there only took, if you can look right here, 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Whereas if you didn't have that roughing pass, it would have probably taken you 3 to 4 times that long because you wouldn't have been able to go as fast as I did and as deep because that was only a single pass because everything was already removed. Which leads me on to hack number 2, and I see this all the time, is just run your bits faster. That is the fastest way to save time, is just speed it up. If y'all guys are running under 50 inches a minute and you have a similar type machine or maybe a 2 foot by 2 foot, that's too slow for 1/4 inch bits. I run 1/8 inch bits at 100 to 150 inches a minute. And so I just want to kind of give you this context. Now, once again, if you're using that rougher, you just saw me running at 250 inches a minute. This one was just running at 300 inches a minute. And that's going to save you plenty of time. And along with running things faster, the biggest thing you can do is increase the plunge rate because that is where a lot of time gets taken up. So if your plunge rate is at like 15 inches a minute, that's way too slow. I have a rule of thumb where my plunge rate is half of the feed rate. So for this one right here, I ran it at 300 inches a minute on the feed rate, so my plunge rate is 150 inches a minute, and I always plunge at a 45-degree angle because it makes the best cut in my experience and it's easy to train on. So plunge faster, run faster, that's gonna save you a ton of time, and that's hack number 2. So I just put the Golden Boy rougher back in, and what I'm going to do is do a roughing pass on the outside and leave a thin skin on the bottom, which is going to be called an onion skin. And so we're going to cut that out and talk about it and why it's so important to help speed up your cutting processes. Now, before we run that bit, if you are getting value from this video, do not forget to give us a like and subscribe. And if you have ran bits faster, leave a comment in the comment section below on what kind of results that yielded you and how much time it saved you or how many bits you broke. Now, let's get to cutting. So I was supposed to show you this onion skin right here, but side note, tip or hack 3B, always set your Z height. So I learned that whenever I was cutting here and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't set my Z height. So it's a little bit off, but over here on this side, we actually have an onion skin. And let me show you what that looks like, onion skin / eggshell. But if you notice right here on this material, there's this little layer right here that is kind of sticking out. And why I use onion skins or eggshells, however you want to think about it, I usually make them like 0.05 or 0.06, so like a 1/16 of an inch thick. And so I'll do the roughing pass with that rougher and kind of make it, and then leaving that there because everything kind of gets held in place. So now I can do whatever the heck I want to do to the product and it's not going to move. If you cut it all the way out and you just leave a couple tabs there, whenever you come back and do a point cutter like we're about to do, it's going to vibrate and cause a lot of frizzies. So we do this on our industrial machines and on different products like this where we're trying to save and kind of maximize the CNC's time. But once again, hack number 3 was the onion skin. Hack 3B, don't forget your Z height. Now let's go on to hack number 4. So this tip is going to revolve around nodes. And so this is the pumpkin right here that we're cutting out. It's part of this digital file pack right here. And we're about to run a point cutter. And so whenever we run a point cutter, we want to inset a little bit. I usually go 0.03 so that a line doesn't develop. And if you notice right now, everything's pretty good. There's not a lot of nodes. The problem is whenever you offset all of this stuff, and we're going to go outwards 0.03, watch and look at this new file. See how many nodes that is? So now what the computer is going to do, your CNC, not computer, the CNC, it's going to go individually to these, and each of these is going to be just lines and lines of G-code, and it's going to slow everything down a ton. Now, I used to go back over here and redraw all of these, right? Take this arc and you redraw it like this, and it would take forever. You connect up everything, but in the end, you'd have a very nice, thing. Well, I took Kyle with Learn Your CNC. He has an amazing course, and so I took this course very recently, the other day, just to see if I can brush up on some skills. And I learned a huge tactic in there. And so whenever you have these nodes, what you need to do to get rid of all of them on your CNC is you come over here to this curve fit, you click that, And this is if you have VCarve Pro, but if you don't, you have something else, just try to eliminate the nodes. But what you do on VCarve Pro is you come over here, you do these settings right here. This is just what Learn Your CNC Academy was telling me. Watch that. It just got rid of everything, just like that. And so instead of having this many nodes, you have this many. And that CNC is going to run so much smoother, so much faster, and have such cleaner cuts. So now let's hop back over to the CNC and let me show you the difference between having a lot of nodes and not a lot of nodes on this point cutting toolpath. So now we got our point cutter in, and we're gonna cut out this inner circle that's node heavy, and then we're gonna cut out the other ones that don't have so many nodes in them, and you're gonna notice a huge difference on how choppy it is and how long it takes versus the other ones. Let's go. There we go. See that? See how choppy that was? Now let's run that exact same toolpath again, but without all the nodes in the way that Kyle showed us how to do it from his Learn Your CNC program. Let's do it. See how smooth that is and how much faster that went? Like, that's beautiful. Now in my original version, if you bought my digital files a few weeks back, whenever the original video came out for this, I had all those nodes in there, so you should have received an email already with all of that fixed, because Kyle taught me this a couple of days ago on his program, and it saved a ton of time, and it's something that I have never known for the last 10 years of doing a CNC, so it always helps to talk to other experts in the industry. Now, let's get this pumpkin cut out and give you that last tip that's been right in front of you the whole time and you never even noticed. Now, this product came out good. It needs a little sanding, a little bit of oiling, but it's done. But the context of the video was to show you all these tips and tricks. And the last one that's just been staring you in the face the whole entire time, and this is where I talk about it's not gonna save you hours, it's gonna save you days and days, is using pre-made panels, right? Like, that is so key. And now you're gonna look at me and be like, oh my gosh, he's just pitching his product. Like, no, I'm not pitching you my product. I'm trying to save you time. And you can't get that back. And so all these woodworkers always think you have to make everything from scratch, right? And you have to just buy all the wood, glue up the panel, have all of this stuff. Like, I designed this so you didn't have to, because I was tired of hobbyists having to buy $3,000 worth of equipment, a planer, a joiner, all this other stuff, just to have fun woodworking. Especially if you have a CNC where the fun is had, where the money is made, and the things that you like to do are when you press go. And so the faster you get to press go is the faster you have fun, the faster you make money, and the faster you learn, right? And so why CIC Workshop has the BAMX, why we have hardwood panels, is to save you that Saturday that you spend gluing up, so on Sunday you can actually have the fun and work with the CNC. That's why I do that, because I made that mistake for years, and it pisses me off when people don't understand this concept, but it's like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why CIC Workshop exists. It's to help you simplify, create, and succeed, right? Simplify all your projects. So you don't have to even buy this stuff from me, right? You can use sheet goods, use plywood, use a single board. But if you have to, absolutely have to, use a bigger panel or need something unique to sell, that's where I come in. So this is the thing that saves you days. All the other stuff is gonna save you minutes, gonna save you hours, gonna help you cut better projects. But this right here is such a mindset shift. I'm probably gonna make a full video on it, but it's so hard for people to grasp this concept because our egos get in the way. Like, no, what do you like to do? You like to run the CNC. Well, have the stuff that allows you to run the CNC faster, because I don't know about you, but I can't stand making glue ups and having to cut around knots and straight edging stuff and joining stuff. Like, that's not fun. Running this thing and screwing up on this every once in a while is fun. Now, it's frustrating, but it's fun, and that's why we do this. So that is my hack number 5. Do not think you have to make everything. just know that the faster you get something on the CNC, the more fun you're gonna have, the more money you're gonna make, and the more time you're gonna save. So that's my 5 hacks, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you wanna see the full video on how we cut out this pumpkin tray and others, click right here. And as always, guys, remember, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.